Hi, I'm Alan Saltman. I'm going to be teaching a course on Winston Churchill. A little bit about me. I'm the author of a recent book about Churchill called No Peace with Hitler. And I'm currently working on another book called Churchill and Chamberlain, how two adversaries got together to save democracy. Now, my background is kind of varied for a Churchill historian. I was born in Lynn, Massachusetts. I started off as an electrical engineering major, and I graduated from Northeastern University with a degree in economics. After that, I went to law school at Boston College. Upon graduation, I moved here to DC and practiced government contract law for nearly 50 years. For a good part of that, I was the managing partner of a DC office specializing in government contracts. And for several years, I was also an adjunct professor of law at Boston College. When I hit the glide slope toward retirement from practicing law, I started to write No Peace with Hitler. I became intrigued over the question of why Churchill did what he did. And with the help of a psychiatrist, I came up with an answer. It took 3 years of work to do it. Since its publication, I have lectured widely about the book, Churchill and World War II, both here and in England. The course should be of interest to anyone who has an interest in World War II, and particularly Winston Churchill. Among other things, we're going to discuss at some length Winston's childhood and schooling, both of which were very important to the man he ultimately turned out to be. His time in the military, including his fantastic adventure as a war correspondent during the Boer War. If you don't know about this story, this course alone will be worth the price of admission, or this aspect of it. We'll talk about him being a young, rabble-rousing member of the House of Commons, and his illustrious service in very many different positions in the cabinet. This includes his role as First Lord of the Admiralty during the Gallipoli debacle in the beginning of World War I, an incident that left him scarred for almost the rest of his life. We're also going to discuss it at some length, his frequently antagonistic relationship with Neville Chamberlain. We'll talk about his positions and involvement in many pre-World War II events, including the emergence of Hitler in Germany, Germany's remilitarization of the Rhineland, Britain's attempts in the 30s to rearm itself, Germany's annexation of Austria in 1938. We'll talk extensively about the quote-unquote negotiations in Munich that took place in September 1938, as well as the lead up to the invasion of Poland in September of 1939. Now, at that point, he became Churchill's First Lord of the Admiralty, and we'll discuss that very interesting period of his career, how his relationship with Chamberlain tremendously morphed during the 8 months he served as First Lord, and the very unlikely way that Churchill became Prime Minister. Then we're going to get into how and why Churchill stood up to Hitler in May 1940, when many people thought he was insane because Hitler had just ran through all of Western Europe and Britain had no allies. We're going to go through things that you know something about. We're going to talk about the Battle of Britain and how Britain won that by a thumbnail. We'll talk about the Blitz, Germany's invasion of Russia and Russia's counterattack, the Allies in North Africa, in Italy. We're going to talk about the truth regarding Churchill and the Bengal famine of 1943, something you probably have heard a lot of rumors about. We're going to talk about D-Day and on to VE Day in May of 1945. once we've done all that, we're going to talk about Churchill in the post-war years, which are a fascinating story in and of themselves. And of course, his return to power after being thrown out in the 1945 elections. He came back as prime minister in 1951 and served for a few years. And we'll discuss that. All in all, I think we're going to have a very interesting course. It's going to be a lot of interaction between me and the students. I'd love to hear your questions, and we will get into side discussions. I think it's going to be a good time for anyone who really has any kind of interest in history, Churchill, and World War II. I hope you'll join me.